This London-born Nigerian filmmaker, director, photographer and producer has worked alongside Beyonce, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Tiwa Savage, Popcan, Goldlink and Nasty C. He directed Seyi Seyi's Murder in 2014, a move that gave him the desired attention in Nigeria. Alabi also worked with Wizkid on his Made in Lagos album. He's a co-founder of JM Films with Jimmy Adesoya.
If you say you get the man, then you wanna try, you could go die, baby. You've been a landslide for a long time, but then no one believe me. All up when I come back, you one try, but you do me easy.
Number 4, Dami Twitch. His original name is Owolabi Oluwadamilola. Twitch started with photography in 2013 before going to full music production in 2017. That was the year he shot his first music video for Burna Boy and Yonda. He has gone on to shoot visuals for Fowls, Burna Boy, Olamide, Lil Kesh, Victor A.D., Simi, Peruzzi, Mayor Kung, Leah, and Davido. Number 5, HG2 Filmworks. Olaolu Olabode Folarin, also known as HG2 Filmworks, is a Nigerian-American music video director, graphic designer, entrepreneur, and cinematographer. Olabode began his production journey as a graphic designer and later went into full-time music video production in 2010. He has directed music videos for big-name artists like D'banj, Kiss Daniel, Dami Crane, Reminisce, Nice, and Scales. You will agree with me that these directors bend over backwards to churn out massive videos for our entertainment. And such, they deserve more than enough accolades for their contributions. So whenever you watch your favorite artist videos, always remember the men behind the scene.
I'm not in a contest with anybody, says Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi as he declares his ambition for the 2023 presidential elections. And on the issues of insecurity, the Middle Belt Forum says declaring bandits as terrorists hasn't changed anything. This is Plus Politics. I am Mary Ann Okon. The Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi, who recently declared his ambition for the 2023 presidential election, has said he's not in a contest with anybody but himself. He said this after a meeting with the president informing him of his intention to contest the post of the president under the umbrella of the All Progressive Congress. He said if the APC throws its ticket open to the southern part of the country, his achievements in the past 6 years would enable him clinch the ticket. Well, joining us to discuss this is political analyst Francis Chilaka and public affairs analyst Sunny Maduka. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
We must have to consult widely and go to all the leaders.
Well, sorry about that glitch. I'm going to start with you, Doctor. So he's saying that the 6 years that he has served in Ebonyi State should be enough for the average Nigerian to pick him as a presidential candidate for, the APC. But let's start by looking at the strides of this governor in Ebonyi State. He's been there for 6 years. What are the things that we can point to as some of the, great strides that he's made that would qualify him for this position?
Well, foremost, let me just start by saying that every Nigerian is qualified, if you're within the age bracket as stipulated in the Constitution. Umahi's presidential ambition is already known, right from the time he defected from PDP to APC. So most of us already know that he's already vying for something. So that defection is a clear indication of his ambition. So he has a perfected intent right from that day he defected. So it's not more news. I think he's just coming to polarize his intention to the public. But we already know that his ambition is to be the president of this nation. There's nothing wrong in it, but let me add, the problem we have today is before we choose anybody that is going to be president, we should look at the antecedent now. For the past 6 years, Nigeria has been under certain kind of condition. So we would like to have somebody who has a clear vision of where he's leading us. And if you look at Ebonyi State is just a state. So when you're leading a country, it's beyond a state. So I'm looking at beyond tradition, beyond religion, beyond tribe. Let us get it right this time around. So I'm really happy that people are coming out. And it's still not who is not yet the scorecard for us to say, oh, this is the person. But from what you just asked, Umahi had done a lot well in terms of infrastructure in Ebonyi State. He has done quite very well. But there are other areas I don't appreciate some kind of. And that areas are one, his wavering spirit. What I mean by wavering spirit is somebody who has no principle, because he is a founding father of that party, PDP. So when he defected, as of today, he has not clearly told Nigerians, this is the reason why I defected. At least that's what I expect of somebody like that. He's supposed to tell us why he defected. But from indicators you can see, it's kind of personal interest than national interest. Then two, he's going to have a problem on trust, because somebody without that principle of staying put to where he started, people are going to look at him as somebody who cannot be trusted. But it doesn't really matter. Ambition is ambition. Everybody has a political ambition. And of course, politicians are one of the people you cannot track. And then you talk about another inhibition. The crisis in his state is one of the worst states when you talk about crisis within the Southeast. How much has he been able to cover that gap? How much has he been able to quell the gap? As of today, we have Benue clashes on border. You have Anambra border clashes. You have even herdsmen and indigenous clashes. And of course, being the chairman of Southeast governors, what has he done with the Bubago that was floated? So these are the reasons that I'm looking at. Then fourthly, his base. Has he been able to garner support from his base? If he had been able to do that, then it's going to be good. But I think most of the Southeast, not necessarily, let me put it that way, APC, whatever, except the Supreme Court judge that added the APC within the caucus of Southeast. So these are the issues. To me, beyond Umahi governorship, presidential aspiration, Nigerians should look right well before choosing anybody in 2023. We have gone a lot this period.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Francis Chilaka, it's interesting. I know that this is, when you throw your hat into the ring or declare an intention to run for any office, it also can be seen as a popularity test of sorts. And most times you hear people say, well, let's see how popular you are. As opposed to others who have also declared intentions, or those who are consulting, the likes of the Kwankwasos, of the likes of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the vice president, and several other people who might be intending to run for office. Governor Mahi placed side by side with these people. How, and just like the doctor said, what is his base like? How much ground can he cover, I beg your pardon, to be able to say, well, he can actually, run for this office and get the kind of votes that he desires?
Well, let me start by saying that, yes, like Dr. Maduka said, he has every right as a Nigerian citizen to vie for the presidency. But you see, my problem with Nigerian politicians is that they have no ideology, just as the political parties do not have an ideology. I mean, if you think and you believe that you are a good candidate of presidency in Nigeria, why must you first and foremost come from one party to another? It's becoming more like, okay, we're running a party system where credibility does not matter. But for me, I would say that Umahi, well, I honestly don't understand where he's coming from. I don't understand where he's heading to. Because when we talk about people who have what it takes to be a president, for me, he is not one of those I will look up to.
Why?
In every aspect of it.
Why?
I will look up to him because I have people who have also worked under his administration, who do not speak well of his administration, who do not have anything good to say about his administration. And for me, I think that the time for us as Nigerians to go beyond party, beyond individual, and begin to look at credibility, begin to look at what you have to give to the Nigerian people. And it is so nauseating and so annoying when people want to declare their intention to contest for presidency. They have to first of all go to Aso Rock to pay homage. It doesn't speak well of any candidate. I think that the person...
But they're members of a political party, and I'm not in any way speaking for the APC, by the way, but they are members of a political party, which the president is also part of. And the president, in quote, just hang on, the president, in quote, might actually is the leader of the party. So if you do have, or you are nursing an intention, of course you go to your leader and tell your leader that this is what my intention is.
Marian, the time to change the status quo is now. The Nigerian people have the sovereignty. Sovereignty belongs to the people. So for those who want to lead this country, they must realize that sovereignty belongs to the Nigerian people, and they must respect the Nigerian people. First of all, declare to the Nigerian people before you begin to declare your intention to any other person. For long, politicians have taken undue advantage of Nigerians. They do not respect Nigerians. They do not see Nigerians as people they should relate with when it comes to leadership. They see themselves first before the Nigerian people. But the Nigerian people are the ones who actually give out the power to them. So they owe it to us to respect us and to declare to us first before any other person.
Okay, I just want to pinpoint some of the issues, and I'm not in any way supporting or against the governor. But there are a few things that we've uncovered about the governor. Remember some time ago, the governor had ordered the arrest of a journalist over some Facebook post about Nigerian politicians and the army. He was widely criticized. And of course, lots of people would kick against this as to, this is the person who wants to run for office. Let's not forget that Nigerians are still fighting and fuming over the social media bill, the fact that Twitter has been shut down, and the fact that, the media has somewhat faced some form of gagging over time. So looking at the character and the person of Governor Umahi, with all of these things hanging around his neck, should he be the person that people be throwing their weight behind to be a presidential aspirant, especially at a time like this where the Southeast is also putting its best foot forward? Can he be considered as part of that best foot that is being put forward?
Yeah, okay, Mary, I don't know why the question is for me.
You can go ahead, you can take it.
Let me go, let me hit it. Okay, there are three basic things I will tell you about what we're going through right now. One of the basic things that Nigerians are going through is dictatorial. We have almost a regime that is dictatorial. Nigerians will never accept anybody that has such tendency of dictatorship within the purview of being a president. Two, we have crisis in security matters. The security of this regime has shown that there's a lot of problems which we have not even solved. Just today, within the AFSU and Isukwato here and Okigwe, a lot of hiccups of harassment, banditry. So people will look for somebody who is going to secure their lives. They're looking at Governor Mahi and the problem within the Ebonyi state, where you have Law Panther being almost the headquarters of harassment. And almost every time you hear about crisis from Ebonyi state, and up till now has not been able to sort that out. It's going to be a minus to his ambition. I said it here before that is the governor, is the chairman of the governorship, one of governors in Southeast. He has not been able to manipulate or make do with the embargo they floated. As of today, we don't even know whether embargo or whatever. But nothing is working.
But is that his sole responsibility? Ebubago is a security network for the Southeast, which means that the onus is on all the Southeast governors to make sure that this outfit works. So can we just really put that at the foot or the doorstep of Governor Umahi? He's just one person.
Yes. Because look at Akira Dodo, the Amato Kun. When you are a chairman, the responsibility is on you to ensure that that outfit works. It's not about whether other governors. You are the chairman. You are the one that everybody's looking at. Because what you're talking about presidency, everybody's going to look at you. So whatever you were able to perform within your confine is what people are going to judge you if you are given the higher portfolio or larger portfolio. So Nigerians expect really somebody who has this empathy on ensuring that lives are secured. Then the third one, you just mentioned it on a passing. You see, freedom of speech is very important. So any person who is coming with such inclination, whether it's small or not or minute, people are going to look at him from that angle of trying to, the third arm of, people being heard. Because people should be able to be heard when we talk about democracy.
You just took my next question from me, because I was about to point to that. There are so many issues, surrounding freedom of speech or free speech within Ebonyi State. In fact, the governor was also accused of disappearance of his critics in the state, being that every time someone criticized them, the person would turn up missing. And a former coordinator of Anua Gata Development Center, Okposi, in Ohio Raza local government area, Barrister Amos Ogbonnaya, was recently kidnapped for criticizing the governor and his administration during a television program. So a group, Association of Ebonyi Indigenes in Diaspora in Abuja, accused the governor of being intolerant of criticisms and opposing views. We already know that in a democracy, one of the most important tools is being able to protest, criticize, or free speech, just as you said. So if Nigerians are going through this now, why would we want to jump or hop on a boat with a person who's almost the same or is giving us the body language as same as the person who's already leading us?
Yeah, but you just answered it. That's exactly what I said. We have this fundamental, as I mentioned, security, dictatorship, and of course, freedom of speech. Once you have somebody that has that tendencies of gagging people, trying to tell people that, look at me, I'm a demigod, definitely you're going to have a problem. But
is that not the same? Is that not detailed for every politician, almost every politician in this country? They seem to be almost intolerant of criticism.
That is why I started with my speech. I said we have to look beyond ethnicity, beyond tradition, beyond even zone. We must make sure that 2023 we got it right. Because as I look at 6 years ago, look at where we are today. So we cannot go and pick somebody with such idea again, such mentality, such political policies that are somersaulting. We need people with brain, people with vision, people with mission statement, people that can castigate problems and ensure that they are solvable. But as of today, this past 6 years has given Nigerians a clue of the kind of leader we need. Definitely, anybody that we want to take up as our president, we have to persuade the person from head to toe. Let us know his antecedents. Let's know who he is, so that when we are picking our president, we pick the best among the rest. And that is my submission, because as of today, Nigerians are going through hell, and we cannot afford 8 years again, or such inhuman treatment. Our brand name as nation has been deteriorated. Our brand name as Nigeria has been diminished into such oblivion that if you answer a Nigerian abroad, people look at you with scorn. They look at you with some kind of empathy, as if you're sick. So this is the problem. We need to get it right 2023. If we don't get it right 2023, I'm telling you, Nigeria is going to be very hard for us to get out of this boat that we put ourselves into.
Okay, Francis, you originally said that you do not like the modus operandi of Governor David Umahi, but I'm guessing that there has to be something good about him, because there are people who are literally banding behind him, as he has made this choice to run for the office of the president. But then I want to take you to something that was said about him some years ago. Apparently, he was faulted as the worst performing governor in Nigeria. A group had said that he was one of the worst, if not the worst performing governor in Nigeria. And he faulted that reports, which listed him as one of the worst performing governors in the country. He called that report baseless. He said it was aimed at tarnishing his hard-earned image and reputation. And this was just before he moved from the PDP to the APC. And then now he's in the APC, obviously. Doctor said something that I want to push you further on, that we need to look for someone who has a good manifesto. We have to look beyond the ethnicity, the tribe. As much as the Southeast is looking for a president, we saw Mr. President Buhari, as a no-nonsense general, a man that was willing to come and fight for the people. I do not know if we still hold that opinion right now, because there are people who have really great intentions, but then when they get into office, we don't really see anything close to what they promised us. So what do we need to, what kind of goggles, I beg your pardon, do we need to wear to be able to discern and pick these politicians?
Well, I'd like to start by saying that I think we have a sort of brain drain in our political system. I do not honestly buy the idea where you work 8 years as a governor with nothing to show for it, and then you either want to become president or you want to retire into the Senate. I mean, these are things that we need to change. We need to begin to look at our political life as a continuum, not just as people for retirement and they believe that, oh, if I go and become a president, it's fine. For me, Umahi is a no-no. He doesn't have what it takes to be a president. He doesn't have the mindset. He doesn't have the character. We all know that. Anybody who believes in, trying to suppress the press, trying to suppress freedom of speech, freedom of expression, that person cannot be a good leader. And he has not shown that even as a governor. I am shocked. I am still shocked. I'm shocked. And I'm surprised that until now, Peter Obi has not come out formally to declare for presidency. It is people like Peter Obi that we need. People that have vision, people that have what it takes, people that are ready to make sacrifices. What we need as a leader in this country today, somebody who has a mindset, not somebody who believes, oh, I have to be president because I want power, because I want to rule over the people. I mean, we've gone past that. The last 6 years, we all as Nigerians know that it has not been Uhuru. And so for me, it's not just about the Igbo presidency. It's about having the right character, the right personality coming out for Igbo presidency.
Okay, well, Francis Chilaka is a political analyst. Dr. Sunny Maduka is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being part of this conversation.
Thank you
very much, Miriam.
All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at the declaration of bandits as terrorists and what has changed since. Stay with us.
I used to care for the world's opinion. I used to beg for validation. But the fire that burned in me was hotter, and the passion that lived in me had a voice of its own. So I stopped waiting and started to act. I stopped fearing and started to live. And when they thought I would fail, I stepped into my power.
Because my time is now.
I'm still Malta. Be your best.
Follow the story online, #done with dryness.
I miss them.
Well, they should be on their way by now.
Will it feel like it used to? With everyone
Single file.
Love's not a dream at all. Somebody.
Grandpa, what was Grandma like?
She always found ways to bring us all together. It took me a while to discover how she does it.
Devon Kings, taste that brings us all together.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there's regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. NIMASA bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime.
showing on this channel.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
It's still Plus Politics. Now, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, recently said that the official declaration of bandits as terrorists will enable the armed forces take necessary action against them. He also said the military would amend its tactics given the last development, adding that the criminals would be given the bloody nose so they so desire. Meanwhile, the leader of the Middle Belt Forum, Dr. Pogu Bitrus, argues that the change in nomenclature has not done any good or changed anything. Well, joining us to discuss this is security expert and former director at the State Department, DSS, I beg your pardon, Dennis Amakri, and legal practitioner Dotun Hassan. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Good evening.
All right.
It's a pleasure program.
Mr. Amakri, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
A lot of people have been pushing for this. You know, it's been a song and dance for the government to declare these bandits terrorists. Now they have been declared terrorists, and somebody's saying, well, it doesn't really change anything. So I'm really wondering, and I'm not in any way trying to make anybody look bad, but what exactly do we need for this fight to be fought well, and of course these people to be decimated, for the want of a better word?
Okay, you know, there are two things that we have to consider here. The first one is actually the battle tactics. Battle tactics where you have the contract that we signed for the Tucano jets. The Tucano jets, for one, are very tactical aircraft that are used either for the extraction of hostages or to deal with, terrorist situations. But the contract that we wrote was that, that is according to the Act, the Arms Export Control Act of the United States, 1976. It says that we cannot use those equipment on civilian population. And now that the terrorists have been declared by a court of competent jurisdiction to be terrorists, that means we can now treat them as either terrorists or military, not as civilians. Because when they are bandits, they are like, like thieves, highway robbers, that are civilians, yeah.
Okay, let me come to Dotun. It seems that terrorists are not letting up in any way because, I mean, there are more and more killings and attacks as we speak. I mean, every day as you open the pages of newspapers, you see more and more of these attacks happening. And just as I asked, Mr. Makri, what exactly do you think the federal government is getting wrong? Or maybe, I don't know, the army? Because it seems like they're not letting up in any way. And they keep kidnapping, they keep killing. What exactly are we not getting right?
We're in a country whereby we are lacking in decisive governance, decisive leadership, decisive institutions, and everybody seems to be playing the ostrich game, horse trading, and not really taking that tactical positioning in dealing with issues, especially talking about issue of terrorism, killing, banditry, kidnappings, which is fast eroding the polity now. And the level that we have at date, the effect of the lackadaisical attitude from government before now, before the declaration of...
Are you there, Mr. Hassan? Mr. Hassan, can you hear me? I think that we've lost that connection, but I'm going to come back to you, Mr.
Amaki.
Okay.
So it seems the terrorists are being protected by government because at a particular point in time, the Ministry of Information issued a press statement, even the essay on media and all that, issued press statement protecting on the reportage of killings of the terrorists or bandits. It's even a taboo, or even it was sometimes banned. That was a ban by media house to talk about bandits as terrorists. Having a free day, because once these people are being arrested, the only thing you witness from the government is to let them free and recardinalize them, just bring them and engage them into our military structure. I don't know when any nation in this world will make that sort of a hellish mistake. We are not, and because this is a psychological
I don't think that the federal government really were trying to integrate them into the army. They were trying to give them some form of amnesty, which in the long run didn't really work out well. But I don't think they were trying to integrate them into the army.
We were informed. We were informed sometimes around 2017, 2018. We are all in the media when they said, okay, they've dropped their arm, they granted them amnesty. All of a sudden, they recruited them into the Nigerian army without even purchasing. Even our Nigerian youth that are interested to join the Nigerian army, we're not given this kind of grace. In this kind of a situation, amnesty to terrorists are not allowed because these people are not going to change. This is a psychological belief that killing and massless kidnapping and all these things is the free day for them. This is what they live on. This is their own trading. This is their own belief. This is their own religion. So naming and changing from bandit to terrorist, even gazetting it is just to me just to wipe a crocodile tears. It doesn't. Okay. It has not in any way investigation. Or will it just come as a political statement to rub it on our face as Nigerians? So statements like this give that boldness to these terrorist boys. Even the Nigerian army, we must give them kudos. Those boys are laying their lives and they are dying in droves every day. But the fact that the federal government is doing its best, providing some armory, the Tucano jet and all that, as far as our capacity as a nation, we shouldn't be talking about 2, 3, 4 Tucano jets. We should be talking about 100 jets, 200 bombers and all these things.
I guess those things also cost money, and then it means that we also have to rejig our budgets to include that.
We have had sometimes in this nation under Jonathan, the NSA was given $2 billion to purchase arms and ammunition. The present administration also raised $1 billion to purchase arms and ammunition. Where are those things? Is it the little ones that they delivered? How did you... Wait, countries of the world come into their nation to have a vault of military technology. Technology is beyond...
I think that these questions, I'm going to pose them back to Mr. Dennis Amaki. Mr. Amaki, I'm coming back to you now because he's asking me questions that I think you would be in a better position to answer. The former NSA boss is still in custody as we speak. We do not know how much monies have been recovered and if these monies have been, be embossed into the purse of the NSA to get more equipment. That's the first question. Now, we also see a shift in these, insecurity and attacks that I was speaking about Ebonyi State in the first segment, and we also know that Ebonyi is now a hotbed. It was Imo State, but it's shifting to Ebonyi State, and we are seeing some form of insecurity breeding more and more and spreading in the southeast. So my question is, The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, was also pointing fingers at the federal government and certain persons in the government, in the corridors of power, as those who are sabotaging the security status of the Southeast. So I'm posing the question to you. What exactly do you think is responsible for this fast spread of insecurity, especially in the Southeast now? We know that there's insecurity in the Northeast, the one in the Northwest, but now the Southeast is a hotbed.
Thank you very much for that question. You find out that we as Nigerians are going through a lot of problems, especially when it comes to the security arena. And one of the major issues there is that in the Northwest, we have bandits, and we know how they manage to come into the country. And of course, they are foreigners. And then, of course, the government have come out to say that, we should get rid of these people. So now that they've even been declared as terrorists, some people don't believe that they are terrorists, but now that they've been declared, because there is a difference in dealing with a terrorist and maybe an armed robber on the road. But as far as I'm concerned, all the acts that are happening, what they are doing is terrorism. And then, of course, beyond the fear that they do in society, they also go ahead and donate money to, they finance Boko Haram. And it has been established many, many times. So this is what is happening there. But when you talk about the former NSA and monies that were given for arms and ammunition, I think that thing is still in court. Although, like I always say, sometimes we don't have the political will to strengthen our criminal justice system. And if we can do that, where people are indicted and, of course, taken to court and then, shamed, that this is what they did, they stole some money and everything, things will change for the better. But when we go for plea bargaining and other kinds of things, then it becomes a real problem about the NSA.
Quickly, before I let you go, and then I pose the next question to Dosun. Governor El-Rufai has actually come up with an idea saying, kill all of them. Don't keep anyone. We don't need informants, just because none of these people will be repentant. Should we be towing the line of Governor El-Rufai in dealing with this bandit? Because everybody that you see on the streets and you ask them about this issue that, hey, now these people have been declared terrorists. In other words, we can deal with them as we deal with terrorists. So everybody says, well, yeah, now they're terrorists. So what next? What's going to be done different? How do we deal with them? Is this going to change the tactics of the army? Is this going to make...
Before, we're dealing with them as bandits. And then, of course, if they are terrorists, I will also want the Nigerian government to understand that this is the time to use a political will to stop this, because it is spoiling the name of the president, whereby he is harboring it, and being a former military general, we expect that he should come out and crush this. So the other question you asked, I don't know, please remind me.
No, I was talking about the governor of Kaduna State saying no need to save anybody because, sometimes the army takes, prisoners of war for information. Like the Middle Belt Forum is saying that the army knows where these people are. There are people who go to visit these people. There are people who know exactly where to find them. But then they're saying...
You're correct there. Yes, we can. That is what the agreement, the ACM, Arms Export Commission has said. That the Act has said that you cannot use the weapons on civilians. So if we are going to carpet bomb the place, we have to be sure. Of course, well, I'll excuse him because the Kaduna State governor is not a military man, so he does not know exactly what it takes, because the collateral damage that is going to happen there is going to be great. But anyway, right now that they've been declared, I think they should go all out to deal with them, because there is no need to even negotiate it. They are foreigners. Let them go back to their country. I think at this time we should be resolved.
Okay. And finally, Dr., the campaign season is here, like I was saying earlier on. The politicians are going to come with the sweetest and the nicest sugar-coated tongue to tell us, the things that they will be doing for us in the future, even when they know it's not within their reach. And I'm guessing that the issue of insecurity, just as it was used in 2015 and 2019, might also be a campaign tool for all and sundry. What should the average Nigerian voter be looking for? What should be our posture so that when these people come, we can also make our demands? What should those demands be? In closing.
Well, let me firstly add up first. One of the implication of naming the bandit terrorists is that the legal implication is that they'll be prosecuted under the Terrorism Act now, and the implication is by death. So, whereby there is no room for them to escape this time around. But the unfortunate thing is that because we are used to this.
Mr. Hassan, are you still there? I think that we have lost connection with Dr. Hassan. Can you hear me, Mr. Hassan? I think that we've lost that connection. Let's try again. Can you hear me, Mr. Hassan? Unfortunately, we've lost that connection with Dr. Hassan. I want to say thank you to Dennis Amakri. He's a former director of the Department of State Services, the DSS, and of course, Dr. Hassan is a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick break to see what people have to say about Nigeria's war against terrorism. And that will be Where I Live You Tonight. I am Mary Anna Cohn. Have a good evening.
This thing you can't stop because you don't already make exits for everywhere. Even some other countries don't they learn, or maybe our own country don't they learn from outside country. So to fight from Boko Haram or whatever, it's too easy, sir. It's too easy. So to stop it, except God interfere.
The only way I feel, my own opinion concerning this issue is that the government, first of all, they should tackle it through the angle of, let me say, dialogue. Call these people together. You remember when we have this militancy in the Niger Delta? Then our president was Shehu Musa Yaradua. He appealed to the boys, called them, say, in fact, you just lay down your arms, let's talk together, and he granted them amnesty. So I believe the government, which is in power now, can still do the same thing.
Obviously, the lasting solution for Nigeria, I made them sell Nigeria, made them share the money, give all of us.
There is nothing that can curb, terrorism wholly. Even in other parts of the world, they still, experience terrorism. But what I feel we can do right now, as Nigeria as a case study, is that we should engage, ourselves. We should have personal way of safeguarding ourselves. That is happening in other Western parts of the world. Like you have your own license, you have license to gun. So if there is any means that you want to attack me, then I can actually save myself from the attack.
In this instance, there is no law presently in Nigeria that allows any of the law enforcement agencies or any other agency for that matter to monitor the WhatsApp conversations of Nigerians. And it's basically just to eavesdrop on phone calls and SMSs and other things that would go on private phones of private individuals, which is why we say it's unlawful. Okay. And if at all there was to be any law, that law still has to conform to the rights granted under the Constitution. And of course, the Constitution being the supreme law of the land, if any law conflicts with the Constitution, that is what the law says.
Now, the bandits that came and attacked those people in the market in Sokoto, I understood that there are more than 200 bandits. Where were they coming from? Were there no security, on the road or on the way? Where did they come from? And how did they manage to enter into such an environment, with such a large number of persons that came from wherever they come from and then did what they did and then escaped and nothing happened to them? So what manner of policing system are we using in this country in order to create a state of security? What are we really protecting lives and property, which I know is the primary responsibility of government?
I want to ask, are there really manipulations in the PDP? Is there the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob at play in the People's Democratic Party, being that there are so many strongmen and of course, different interests and many followers? Could that also be the reason why you said that this has never happened before in terms of when a tenure should expire and when the convention should happen? This is the first of its kind. Is this not in any way laying or rather giving credence to what your ousted chairman is making reference to?
Okay, the best way to answer it is that what we are playing in politics, what we are doing in PDP is pure politics. You agree with me that there are interests, personal interests and group interests, either present or in the future, that is towards 2023. Mm-hmm. And these interests are playing out. Nobody is neutral. Everybody has one interest or the other in the candidate or in what goes on. Mm-hmm. So what we are doing is not manipulation, it's pure politics.
What even became more surprising to some of us was the faulty attempt by the Nigerian security services and the government in general to cover up the massacre. Initially, there were attempts to deny that people were even shot in the first place. There was an initial denial. Then later it was accepted that yes, people were shot, but no one was killed. But later on, we found out that people were actually killed.
The dishonorable Minister of Misinformation, Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, I think his words are suspect. I think we need to pay attention to it. But we, the people, we know something has changed. The media or the information or the narrative can be passed out that says nothing has changed, No, something has changed. People are speaking. Nigerians around the globe are speaking. The international community is listening. The way you come to the UK, you come to America before and just walk on the street, Nigerians will stop you on the streets of London and question you. As a Nigerian minister, it's not the same thing anymore. So something has changed. The one thing about change is a process, and process takes time.
Well, one of the problems we have on this country today, wastage is still inside our numbers. We don't have that much money. The little we have us all sorts of wastage. So let's go zero-based budgeting on those budgetary items. Build it up from scratch and arrive at something that makes, rather than just put the percentage on what you spend the last.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
You still have to go back to the basics. So I'm not saying
basics meaning you have to go to the foundation, the root of the problem.
Thank you. The root of the problem. Ask yourself, first of all, why do I want to do this? 2, am I eating properly? Am I going to eat properly after this? Is my mind in the right state to actually start eating properly? 3, am I going to be active? Because you need to be. You need to actually work harder than somebody who hasn't done any surgery before. That's the truth of the matter.
You have to work harder.
You have to work harder because you've taken the body out of, you've taken fat out of the body in an artificial manner. And so these, I have a problem with doctors on this issue because doctors will tell you, oh, don't lose more than 1 to 2 kg in 1 week, or don't lose more than 2.2 pounds in 1 week. And then these same doctors will happily take off 10 kg off you in a day, in one sitting. So really, who are we fooling here?
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, they go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
How can I grab people's attention on social media for my videos?
2 things. 1, ask a question.
then start with the word you. You want to make sure the word you is in the first question, your first phrase. So are you a stay-at-home mom? Or do you struggle with acne? Or if you are like Kafaya that just had a baby and wants to get back to work, there are a few things you can do. So you want to make sure it's ask a question, has you, and addresses the pain points of your target market immediately. So it pretty much just calls them out like, hey, and they pay attention to it.
I had no desire to study law, none whatsoever. I was more inclined to fine arts. My only ambition, I would say, was to become the chief prosecutor. For me, politicians are a bit too playful. That's what I believe. And since '99, we've seen how much investment in social events, in launching some streets that you just started, and the whole day will be spent on this occasion. Rich people are generally law-abiding. We are not law-abiding. So another problem of administration is that people don't follow the rules.
Timeless Conversations, airing every Sunday at 8:30 p.m.
When you actually buy your land and you want to build, it's more expensive than when you buy into a property that is being developed for affordable housing. You buy the house plot for 4 million, you will clear the land, you will pay your money fees, the community fees, you would start possibly fill the land, and then from there again you start producing. Now, because there's no large economy of scale, you will actually buy your block around 300 naira per block. If you are dealing with an affordable housing company, your block cost might come up to about 220, 250 because they are producing themselves. We try to eliminate third party as much as possible. If your land is triangular, you are going to waste a lot of money in construction.
Are you serious?
If your land is very irregular, up here, bent here, come out here, it's going to affect your design. The more edges you have, the more costly it becomes for you. So a rectangular land is actually the best buy.
Space and style.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Raise, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Sayomi Saleh, and today I'm joined by my amazing co-anchors, Isia Fadala and Jennifer Nicholas. Hey, let me start with the Abuja runaway. Hi Jennifer, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
We have missed you.
I know, I'm so glad to be back.
How was Abuja?
Like I'm just starting afresh.
I tell you, no, it's gonna be start afresh because we didn't see you in 2021. I'm sorry.
True.
We did. I did not see you. I did not see you in 2021. How are you? How was Abuja?
I'm fine. Abuja was sweet.
Aww. That's like you want to come back.
Well, how can you compare? Can you compare Lagos to Abuja? Do you think Abuja is better than Lagos? A lot of people feel that Abuja is better than Lagos.
Abuja is better than Lagos.
Because of the traffic or because of the lifestyle?
There's no traffic. There's not too much noise.
There's sanity.
Yeah, you don't really get disturbed by police and all of that. Yes.
Really? But I've read stories online.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as Lagos. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not as bad as Lagos.
How about you, Isi? How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Had a beautiful weekend and I'm ready to rumble.
All right, so today we're talking human capital and like trying to see how owner-led businesses can harness that human capital to build a successful business, right? And here's what we found as today's quote. The secret to successful hiring is this: look for the people who want to change the world. As simple as that. So an organization is often said to only be as good as its people, from top down which is why human capital is so important to a company. Human capital is a loose term that refers to the educational attainment, knowledge, experience, and skills of an employee. The theory of human capital states that companies have an incentive to seek productive human capital and to add to the human capital of their existing employers. Nanke Essien is here to discuss human capital. That's a key to transforming owner-led businesses. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways. Now, in 1985, the government of India declared Swami Vivekananda birthday on January 12th, National Youth Day, in honor of the great philosopher and monk. Since 1985, this day is celebrated as National Youth Day all over India. The National Youth Day is observed all over India at schools, colleges, with professions, speeches, music, youth convention, seminar, yoga, sanas, presentation, competition in essay, writing, and recitation, and sports every single year. So, unawedo, Indian people. National Youth Day. I don't know. There are just too many days online where you see them. It's so strange. All right, so who are we starting with? Let me come to Jennifer. What did you find for us in the news today?
Okay, so today,
very interesting.
very interesting. The skit maker, the general, and 3 others were arrested today in the drug raid by the NDLEA. According to them, they said they went to a drug joint at Orchid Estate, where they went to search that place. But by the time they got there, a lot of the guys who were with drugs ran away from that spot and went to another apartment which belonged to Joshua, that's the general. So they ran into his apartment. The guys got there and then they said that they wanted to search that place. So by the time they searched and did a lot of things, they found tramadol and cannabis. And I think after much interrogation, the general finally accepted that the drugs were his. So he was arrested with 3 other people.
So this is actually interesting because earlier today, very early this morning, I saw a video where the NDLE people had gone into this skit maker, the general's house, and of course they went live on Instagram. Where for me, I mean, you read all the comments. Of course, natural youth tendency in Nigeria is once they see law enforcement agents in the houses of this thing, it's almost automatic to say, oh, they are oppressing us and all of that. So this video went viral because it was live on Instagram, and all of a sudden, like hours later, we then see a mugshot of the guy,
yes.
And he actually, the report said he actually admitted to it. So this comedian, Nasty Black, had posted on Twitter. I don't know if they can pull out those tweets. He said, "It is with deep sadness I share my experience here on social media, but I hope this gets seen by everyone. Yesterday, while I was on my way to visit at a location, I was accosted by men of the NDLA." So according to Nasty Black, they had accosted him, told him to come down from the car, they searched him and all of that. And in fact, at some point, because he saw the way they were in high spirits,
himself and his PA.
Yes, one cocked the gun and said he was going to shoot him, blah, 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 and all of that. So apparently, I think that was when this raid was happening. I think this video was from last night, yesterday, but the mock shots surfaced today. So the Nasty Black was now saying that the kind of lawlessness, people, that this kind of lawlessness is the same situation that many Nigerians have dealt with at the hands of men of uniform, and now after all the clamor, it seems like the new threat to the safety of Nigerians is the NDLA. I'm a victim. I will not keep silent. So while I sympathize with you, Nasty Black, you cannot not admit that we have a lot of young people involved in drugs,
including
so we do not even know. Yes, we do not even know whether it is for personal consumption or for commercial purpose. There are lots of young people that are doing drugs. You can't take that away. So please, when we want to make some kind of conclusion. Let us be very guided, because this was what we talked about yesterday. Be guided in your assumptions and calculations. So eventually, with all the harassment, we found a mugshot, and the guy actually admitted that the tramadol and the cannabis, they were his. So I mean, you can't say that every law enforcement officer is out to get you, right? They will not just, and these people said they were tipped off. And this was what led to that raid that happened, that eventually got these guys that they nabbed, right? So we just need to be careful. It's not all the time that law enforcement officers are out to get you.
I also heard, I heard yesterday that there is even a high usage of crack in the East.
Yes,
and
yes, we talked about it now.
It's
in December.
I feel like drug has become a thing. It is like
It's a
drinking
trend.
water, taking candy or licking sweets or something like that.
It's a
That's what
trend.
people are doing. So basically, you go to a gathering, you basically just see everybody doing it like
it's normal.
That's why I said it's a trend. If you're not doing it, it seems like you don't know what's happening or what's.
But yes, I sympathize with Nasty Black, because I've heard a lot of people who have said that police stopped them, searched their car, and planted drugs in their car just to implicate
things like
them,
that happen,
just to extort them. So things like that happen, but doesn't negate the fact that there are actually people who sell these things, and the law enforcement agents are actually in their rights.
Absolutely.
All right, Issy, your story.
My story is going to be short, but it still comes back to Nigeria and the customs. Customs seizes 3,620 live ammunition cartridges in Kwara State. Okay, and this was in Kwara State. The Nigerian Customs Service have seized this ammunition in an area called Barunteng local government area in Kwara State, and it has a package of 25 packs of 25 rounds each, and it was contained in 14 cartons worth 1,444,000 naira. Now, I'm not saying that they were wrong for doing this or getting the drugs or getting the ammunition live, or impounding the ammunition, basically. Why I'm upset with this is that there must have been more that have been able to pass through customs in the first place. So where did these ammunition come from? Who is bringing it into the country? And that is what must have caused the rise of insecurity in Nigeria currently. And we should also look at the fact that paramilitary, including the police, should have done more, as well as the military.
This is interesting.
I need to get the last paragraph.
Issy, I was just going to say to you that I like the question you asked, which is the question I keep saying, that is it possible for me to import something into the country faceless? Is it possible?
It's not possible.
There should be documentation.
Absolutely.
From point of boarding to the point where it will be onboarded.
Of delivery.
The point of delivery.
Yes.
So where are the paperwork for some things like this? How do we get them and get the people that are actually culprits for these kinds of incidences?
Yeah. I totally agree with you, but I need to get the last paragraph out, which said that the amount or the sum is about that is generated between the revenue controller disclosed that the command generated a total sum of 19.15 billion between July 2019 and 2021 paid to the federal account, which has to do with the same issue which we're talking about, live ammunition in Nigeria currently.
Okay, so we'll just keep an eye on it and probably look for someone that can help us break it down.
Dissect it.
All right, so Loan Shark declares defaulters dead, distributes obituaries to relatives and friends. So it says a micro loan company that have been accused of declaring defaulters dead, designing and circulating obituaries of such persons to the families and friends. A customer, that's Azuike Chinedu, Achiever, recently shared his experience with a loan company on social media. He said that he had defaulted in his repayment plan for 5 days, and the next thing he saw was his obituary on a public group on Facebook. Another customer of a loan app, Victoria Eyo Epo, revealed she was also a victim and vowed not to repay the loan. But this Victoria auntie, that's not how things work. You have to pay back. So it's actually two things, because I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where you loan people money, and it's in Nigeria, oh my God. In Nigeria, it's actually tough for you as a business owner to deal with credit business. We are not credit worthy in Nigeria. We are not. We have a very bad credit culture, right? So I understand that part, but it's going to the extreme. Now declaring what's it called, these people, the obituary and all of that. Maybe it's in a bid to get people to fish them out, because most times, again, because we do not have identity sorted out, we don't have those population census, we do not have a complete database that can fish you out from anywhere you are in Nigeria. It is difficult to actually hold people when you loan them money, right? So it's a bad thing for business. It's a bad thing for small businesses. It's a bad thing for businesses that are trying to grow. I mean, Elsie had shared something on the group where she was talking about people saying that they didn't even know anything about loans. They just start to get text messages. That's a different ballgame entirely. Where they start to, you just get a text that you're wanted for a loan, whatever, and somebody, that one is a different ballgame entirely. These people here, they actually loaned those monies from this money sharks, the microfinance banks, but they have refused to pay. It doesn't matter the amount, because usually the kind of money that they trade with are small money that they just require huge volume, huge traffic. So if they have a lot of turnover, that's where they make their money from. So if you start to get defaulters, it actually kills and defeats the purpose of the business. So we are hoping that people will just become a lot more credible. And again, this is why we tell our government that we need a proper identification, where even if I default, I can be fished out, unlike places where you are almost like you don't have any identity. We should be able to have our identity sorted out in this country.
But I think they already have a way of communicating with these people, even though
that's why they have to declare obituary.
So the thing is this here, I have a friend who used to work in one of these loan companies, and I've seen her actually call these customers who have actually loaned money from the company, and once she puts a call through and they just hear, oh, I'm from Susuko, they
yes, now life. That means they have never had the intention to pay.
So her blood pressure is always high because she has a target to meet. So your KPI basically for that month is you need to get 20 customers to pay back what they owe, and then you can't even get across to 5 of them.
But how did they give the monies out to these individuals?
The process is, trust me, they have everything. They have all their documentation. They have
everything. They even have
your BVN.
Yes, they have people who have signed on their behalf.
They have guarantors.
I got a call, an automated call. I just picked up, and then the voice started talking. So person, I can't remember the name. Let's just say Chioma. Chioma is owing, but I don't know who Chioma is. Chioma has been owing this. I'm sure that was just their last resort. So let's just put different numbers down. Call them. I don't know any Chioma. I've never know Chioma in my family. I don't have any friend that is called Chioma. I don't have any colleague.
So that's what they will do now.
So how did they even get my number to start with? For them to actually call me to tell me that there is a Chioma somewhere that is owing the company.
This is also just to tell everybody out there, be careful what you're signing. Don't sign anything for anybody if you don't trust the person. Don't sign all those say, come on, help me sign a account opening. Don't sign nothing.
Even trust is overrated right now.
Well, let's take a break now. When we come back from the break, we want to discuss human capital and how to transform owner-led businesses. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And live performances. Tea Time, showing every weekday at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and of course the repeat at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Are you ready to party right from the comfort of your TV screen? The Rundown's here to save the day. From freshly baked videos to the classics to the youngins and dope conversations, all in one chart. We got you covered. Just tune in to The Rundown every Friday, 10:30 p.m. West African time. The Rundown. Let's turn it up.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 I dey pay.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, a company is a reflection of its people. Human capital in recent years is believed to be a key business success factor. The concept of human capital recognizes that not all labor is equal, but employers can improve the quality of that capital by investing in employees. This can be done through the education, experience, and abilities of employees and their staff, right? So all of this has great economic value for employers and for the economy as a whole. Do you believe that transforming your business as an employer is highly influenced by how much you invest in your employee, especially for one-man businesses? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so I'll bring in our guest in a minute. I just want to hear your thoughts, Jennifer and Isi, from the point of an employee. And I'll now come to myself as a point of a one-man business owner. Let me hear your thoughts as a point of an employee. What do you think? How has your well-being affected your productivity for the output for your company?
Jennifer, go first.
I think if there is one thing I appreciate about my company and the bosses that I've had so far is the fact that they always invest in your career. They always want you to work on your skills and build yourself, because at the end of the day, you're representing the company. So if you build yourself, because technology, I work in a tech company, so technology, it advances, it progresses, and if you do not progress with it, you're going to stay in one place. And then when you have clients who are coming up with questions or who need support in some certain areas, you're not able to do that. So if it gets to a point where your other colleagues are moving forward and you're in one place, you're basically not bringing value to the company. But then that's one thing I appreciate, and I feel like that is what every employer should strive to become. You are supposed to invest in your employees, depending on the value they are bringing and how well it is for them to learn on the job.
Okay, I'll take it from two angles, right? I run my my business as well, and at the same time I work for an organization as well. So working for an organization is fantastic, based on the fact that communication for me is crucial. If you're able to interact with me in the language I understand, that's fine by me. My mental health is crucial to me. It's not all about the money most times, but it's about my mental health. So if my organization is able to communicate with me without giving me hassles in the process, and also enables me to put in my best at the same time, I'm fine with that. Secondly, looking at it from an employer's point of view, whereby I employ people as well. In this context, I would say that having trusted hands is crucial. If you're able to get someone who you can actually rely on and, go to sleep when you are not available, that person is able to make key decisions when you're not there, or is not able to reach you on the spot. That is crucial to me, basically. So I think someone who is hands-on, someone who has, who is competent, someone who is loyal and has a lot of integrity is crucial to my business.
Okay, so it's interesting. For me, I think human capital is everything when it comes to any business, especially for a one-man business. These owner-led businesses, where we say you are everything. So when you tend to employ, a lot of times the fear for small businesses, especially, they always feel like, you know what, if I do all of these things that you are saying, empower them like Jennifer and everything, they will just leave me and just go and resume. So we do not have that. We don't have young people that are willing to do the wait period to say, you know what, I want to learn on the job, I want to grow, I want to build, I want to grow with the company. They are thinking, once I'm able to get all the skills I can gather, I would leave. I mean, I was having a conversation, I can't remember with who now. She's into services, I can't remember what service. She was saying that the challenge she's having, it's not like she does not want to train my lady that comes to do my waxing. Yeah. It's not like she does not want to train, that she has trained so many people that instead of them to, like, she's trying to build a company, instead of them to like work under her and everything, as soon as they are done with the training or more, they just jackpot, they go to and they start their own businesses. So it's tougher for small businesses, especially one-man businesses, to do this. But we know that human capital is a key tool to transforming, the growth or the progress of any business in any economy. And again, because SMEs are the drivers of the economy, all the small businesses are the drivers of the economy, we need to get it right. And that's why we have our guest. All right. Nanke Essien is a business improvement consultant with a mission to review, transform, and preserve owner-led businesses in Africa. She's a visionary, an innovator, and a gifted conceptual thinker with about 15 years experience as a high-regarded speaker, HR consultant, strategic planner, and coach entrepreneurs, individuals, and groups. Nanke believes strongly that the work environment can be fulfilling for both the founders and all employees, that owner-led businesses have the capacity to maintain excellence 250 years from inception, I like this part, and have the potential to be successful second and third generation businesses. She firmly believes that businesses in Africa deserves a consistent flow of high-performing employees capable of consistently delivering business results. Her works have been showcased on various national dailies, digital platforms, and various talk shows, and she's joined us live on Ways in Studio. Thank you so much for joining us, Nanke.
Thank you for having me.
So it's an interesting conversation. I mean, on Wednesdays we like to talk personal development, things to do to improve yourself as a person. Then again, of course, expand it, how to improve your finances and all of that. So when I read your profile, it was a perfect fit for a conversation that we could have on growth, because everybody at the end of the day, be it the employee or the employer, we are all looking for a way to grow and move to the next level. I like that part of 250 years, because a lot of times I see that there is no companies, especially owner-led businesses, do not grow. Once the owner dies or something happens to the owner, he's incapacitated or she's incapacitated, the business just goes under. So maybe you should break it down first. What are first of all the challenges of owner-led businesses? Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to quickly
talk about everything you talked about.
Oh, go ahead,
very
please.
Interesting. Yes, so you're very correct. We do not have a bunch of owner-led businesses that have stayed consistently over the years. I mean, some of us have brands that we have stayed with from inception, and our kids are using those brands now.
Absolutely.
And the question you ask yourself is that what happened and how did that? And that's the curiosity for me. That's where I actually started from. And I realized that for owner-led businesses, particularly in Africa, one of the things that plague us is really the fact that we start businesses to employ ourselves, right? It's either we're trying to get rid of a boss, or we're trying to make a statement to an in-law, or we're just hungry. And it's not necessarily our fault.
Yeah.
And you find that these economic issues or social issues tend to taint our vision a lot. And when it does that, what we tend to do is that we start to create processes that are built on this tainted or borrowed vision, or vision that had been blocked by economic factors. And what tends to happen is that you start to create processes, policies, and hire people, and you get some results here, no results there, clients complain here, and then you have the entire fire brigade approach. So sometimes, or not even sometimes, most times, we do not understand the major reason why we started our businesses. Now, if you look at businesses that I mentioned, 250 years and above, if you look at one of the things that have held them so far, is the fact that they understand the core of their business. So I'll give you an example of a brand that we all drink whenever we go to parties. You know, very recently they celebrated 250 years in the market, and one of the first things they did was to dig out a bottle that was buried, or a barrel that was buried 250 years prior, and the owner said, make sure that we bring this out, we dig this out 250 years after.
Wow.
Yeah, and the question you're asking is that how did he know that the business would subsist till that time? And literally, if you go back to the origin of the business, they have preserved the vision from generation to generation. They have preserved the business by understanding, learning, knowing the voice of the operations, and passing it down to human capital. If you go to some of these places in the US and co, you go to their museums and you hear how they talk about their stories, how they are preserving it, and that showcases in the way that they communicate with their staff as well. That communicates in the way that their staff present themselves in the organization, how they behave, how they treat their customers, how they leverage the vision, how transformation happens in terms of change, how they leverage the culture. But you see that these things don't happen in owner-led businesses because we are too focused on, do you get the economy? Do you get? And so when these things happen, you find that we have mushroom-led business. I had a business owner once. I pray he doesn't recognize me, but I had a business owner once, and he said to me, "My kids can inherit my business." A very successful man. My kids can inherit my business. I think that the only people that can inherit my business is the gate man's children and my driver's children, because they understand hunger. I'm being very serious. This is a very extremely successful individual. And he says, because my gate man's children understands hunger. It just goes to tell you that the main reason why this man started his business in the first place was hunger. And so how do you transfer that mentality to your staff? People will always follow with people with vision. People will always follow people with vision. And you'll find that happening in pockets of businesses here and there. But we find mostly that when the owner doesn't have a significant position in the organization, things just go down the drain. And what we don't realize again is that when we are too consumed with work, we can't conquer, we can't build, we can't think, we can't hire, we can't manage. You know, we can't drive the change, we can't drive the transformation that we require in businesses. So first and foremost is understanding the core of your business, the main reason why you started, and never deviate from it. Like I tell people, the strategy for your business might change, but the main reason, the why, the reason, the emotional part of you that made you say, you know what, we need to start this, must never change. Yeah, strategy will change because the years change, your consumers' needs change, the economy changes, COVID happens, and stuff like that. So things like that will happen, you know. But the main reason, you consistently move it from generation to generation and preserve it according to the times.
So sorry, I just want to put a quick follow-up on that. If your why is coming from a selfish point, are you telling me the business will not sustain itself beyond you when you are gone?
So I want to make reference to I want to make reference to somebody who 2,000 years after, we are still talking about that person. And one of the things that this person said, particularly when he was choosing his 12, was that you need to think outside of yourself if you need to provide service. I mean, who are you providing the service for, me or yourself? No, you're providing it because you found a need in the market, right? So you're doing something outside of yourself. And what did that thing do for that person? That person had a name above every other name. And businesses would have a name that your children's children will consistently leverage because they are thinking outside of themselves. So the business leaves you and becomes something that changes the world. That's what entrepreneurship is. That's what tech does. It changes the world. Assuming the owner of your tech company decided to say, you know what, technology is for me and my family only, I will just stay there. What's going to happen? Do you understand? We won't get the groundbreaking changes. We won't hear the needs that your clients have. We won't be able to improve it. We won't be able to know exactly what next to do. So it has to leave you, come out of you, okay, and then solve problems for others out there, and then it becomes a thing. But you know, there's always a driver. There's always something that has made you to, and that thing that has made you, you need to literally, like I said, it is called mentality transfer. You need to be able to transfer that mentality to your team members, so they can also run with it. It's really
Or
just
your employees.
Or your employees.
So if I may step in, if I may step in,
yes, please.
Let's digress a little bit from what you've said. Let's look at grandstanding in one-man businesses, especially in Nigeria. Basically, what is your take on grandstanding in Nigeria? Because we have individuals who have businesses, one-man-led businesses, and they like this. What we call grandstanding is eye service. They come and tell you, oh, what is?
I thought grandstanding was supposed to be like, I want to. It's my word or nothing.
Oh, nothing. So is this on the employer side or on the employee side?
On both sides.
Okay.
Okay. You know what?
Okay.
You know what? Hold that thought. We just need to go on a very short break. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Nanke on human capital, key to transforming owner-led businesses. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. Right, so Isi asked you a question before we went on the break. Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that you also need to understand, I've mentioned the mentality of the individual who's dreaming the business, and that's very important because that's what has helped you get success in the business. And this dovetails directly into your core values. Now, like I tell business owners, your core values can be very vague because they are just words. If I ask every one of us now, what does integrity mean to you? It would mean something different for all of us, but it's just a word. But then we need to define it and turn that into fundamentals that become behaviors that everybody within the organization lives by. And as a CEO, please, you have to live by those rules as well. Because if you do not live by example, if you do not lead by example, what gives me the moral justification to not eye service or grandstand on my own as an employee?
Exactly.
But we find that this thing happens. Well, I won't blame us so much. Think about how you grew up. Your parents beat the out of you, you know, your elder one, your seniors in school and whatnot. So when you come out of school and you own your business, the first thing you want to do is to do what? Do you understand? But we need to shape that mentality. It's such a myopic mentality to the sort of legacy we want to live in the country, and the sort of legacy we want to leave for our children's children. So we need to really deviate from that. I know some CEOs like that. And in my own, a lot of them really, and in my own way, what we do is to help them understand that if your goal is really to leave a legacy, if your goal is to grow a business beyond you, if your goal is to ensure that your great grandchildren come back and be like, oh yeah, that's my grandfather, then you need to. And you know, some people they're not designed to be CEOs, literally. And you can, and it's okay for you not to be so. You can have.
We didn't know that one.
No, really, you can have a helicopter eye view on your business and allow people who are designed to be.
Thank you for that.
You know,
because I was having a conversation with somebody last night on this, that some people are actually not wired.
No, you're not.
Because CEO requires a lot of relationship management and all of that. You are almost like a manager of a lot of things. There are people that are meant to be technical. What's it called, overseers. Some people are meant to be CEOs. Some people, but we don't know all of that. Because it's my business, I must be the CEO. You don't have to be if you do not have the capacity to handle it. But let me come to Jennifer.
And that's why some of the things that we do is also the taking what do you call the psychometric test and even behavioral test and personality test, just to know and to test where you are. That would help you to really come to terms with the fact that you necessarily don't have to be the CEO in your business. Sorry, Jennifer.
I think the fundamental problem is the fact that a lot of people want to be called business owners. A lot of people want to be CEO, or I'm the CEO of this. And the one thing they forget is for you to be the CEO of a brand or a business, you're basically doing everything. You're the sales guy, you're the marketing guy, you're the digital marketer, you're the operations guy. That's before you build a proper team. Now, even if you've been able to get a lot of returns or turnover over the years, and your business is still, or your business is booming and doing very well, you still have a lot of work to do. You also need to make sure that the people that you have put in different departments or as team leads are doing what they are supposed to do. So a lot of people forget that. Everybody wants to become a founder today. I founded this, I started this. But the question is, why? What problem are you solving? Exactly. Have you found yourself? Do you even know yourself enough to actually manage people? Because it is very difficult to manage people. When you're managing people, you employ 2 or 3 people. Now, out of those 3 people, probably only one wants to stay with you for the next 5 years. The other 2 people just want to sign register on their CV that I worked somewhere for 1 year and I want to move. Because we all have our targets. We all have goals that we have set for our careers. But then I have a question. What key steps would you advise employers to take so that they can maintain their business for a very long time and also have happy employees?
Okay, so like you rightly said, everybody wants to be a founder, and you start by doing. So the doing helps you to understand the breadth, the DNA of your business. And then once you understand the DNA and then you understand your operations, it's then time for you to say, who do I need to bring? Now, we need to think about recruitment as a pathway, literally, to living out your vision and to leaving a legacy behind. That's the way we need to visualize recruitment. So it's not like you're doing anybody a favor. Literally, they actually do you a favor. You know, think about the richest man in Africa, for instance. He knows that for him to be able to achieve everything he needs to achieve, maybe he needs 500,000 hours or he needs 50,000 hours in the day. He can't do it by himself. So he needs to hire competent people who will. But he ought to understand his business first enough for him to be able to drive operations. So once you know the voice of your business, you're able to say, okay, this has helped me achieve this thus far, but I need 2 extra people who understand it this way to be able to. So with that in mind, when you're going through your recruitment process, you're creating a problem statement that literally focuses on maybe your 5-year objective or even your 1-year objective or 3-year objective, and you know that the sort of people you're going to get in there, you know, would be able to help you achieve XY. So creating that problem statement, creating also an avatar for your business. I know we hear this a lot in marketing, but it's also important in recruitment. You need to create an avatar. In other words, the sort of individuals you want in your company. You know, I'm serious. Literally, you know.
Go ahead.
You need to have an avatar with the sort of people you want to have in your organization, because culture also matters. If people are not excited to work in your company, or you allow culture to develop by itself, it literally just creates a whirlwind of, you know, recreated cultures here and there. And so I remember one of my staff, don't call me out. I remember one of my staff, you know, he had a bad experience. Let me just not talk about it, but he had a bad experience with the CEO, just him alone. And it was just a concept of misunderstanding. And so he came back to the open office and talked about it. So if anybody wanted to go to the CEO with an idea, or wanted to go to the CEO with that sort of situation he had, he would just be like, no, don't go. And this don't go created a lacuna, such that there was such a great gap between management and staff. And management could not understand why, because we allowed one person. We couldn't define our culture enough. We allowed one person to help us recreate a new culture. Now they have to go back, get consultants in, bring people in, blah, blah, just to solve that one problem.
So this culture that you're talking about,
my sister.
You know, this thing you are saying, you are touching a soft point. Because I have seen literally how companies can just be run down based on a culture that is disempowering in the environment, a very, very bad culture that, you know, just fizzles into and spreads like a wildfire in the company. I was going to ask, you said something that people do not pay attention to the kind of people that will be the drivers of their companies. So you as a person, if you don't have a vision for where you want your company to go, would you be able to hire the right people to be able to push that vision? So how do we bridge that gap? Because some people do not even have a vision of where they just have money and they want to create a company. They just create a company. They don't know what the story of the company is. They don't know what the culture of the company would be. So how do you deal with that kind of situation? And if you are an employee in that kind of environment, how do you manage it?
So we would always have this sort of situation. I mean, I mentioned one earlier. You would have results, but they won't last. That's the honest truth. They won't last. And halfway through it, you're wondering, oh, I have all this money, I've made all the money, I have all this investment here, and then what is going on? The truth of the matter is that all of us, as we are sitting here, we all need to, answer to our higher self. And when that time of relevance comes, it just comes knocking at any point. It can be when you're 60. It can be when you're 30.
Yeah.
I'm a student of Maslow. I love Maslow a lot. And I realized that, we have needs as we go up the ladder. For some people, it's just basic needs, hunger, blah, blah, blah. And as we go up, it can either be social needs. And as we go up, it's now your ability to ensure that your ideas are heard, and then you can grow something. If at any one point your employees stage of growth in that map, if you think about Maslow's law, and your own stage of the company is not in alignment, you find that you have friction in your organization and your people leave. So the earlier you design a vision attainment map or a vision attainment plan, and the vision is not necessarily that thing that is on your website. It's really everything that brings the vision to life. Everything from your core values to your niche as a business, to why you're in business, to your target market, to how you go to market, to how you manage your staff. These are the things that people need to see. And if you think about it, these are literally the departments in your organization. So the extent to which everybody rows in that direction, that's the extent to which you have success in your business. So it's not when you get to that point, you run from pillar to post. Consultants are enjoying now. And the ones that are just all about the bag, they are really secure in the bag. Because all they don't need to do is to go into a company and say, oh, you haven't done this, and just create some blanket solutions. And you see that the CEOs keep running into that problem because we haven't dealt with the core. So this is something that we all need to pay attention to. And if we intend to live 250 years, or our businesses to live 250 years, we need to pay attention to this thing.
You said something about the staff who was disgruntled and actually, changed the dynamics and the culture in that organization. So what's the best way to handle a disgruntled staff or a disgruntled employee?
Okay, so there are so many factors that can lead, but the first thing is always to have dialogue, to have a conversation, because you can never tell. I used to tell my children, if anybody bullies you in school or says something to you, you want to ask them what the thing means to them, and then you disempower them at that point. Because my daughter tried it once and she realized that the bully didn't even know why he was saying what he was saying. You understand? So at the end of the day, he said he was sorry and walked away. So you need to first have dialogue and understand what is the problem. And then you have to decipher if it is an individual problem or if it has become a corporate problem. Because if it's a corporate problem, there has to be a corporate intervention. And that's why your culture is not just, it's not just, oh, we are a friendly company, we like integrity. No. Your culture is really the behavior that brings your vision to life. So what sort of behavior do we need to have in our organization that will bring the vision to life? And then you have to elicit it in culture programs. Culture programs are not one-off, they are everyday. It's not only TGIF. Right? It's everyday programs. It's on your email signature. It's on the things that you talk about. It's on your knowledge sharing. There are just different ways to bring it. It's in your retreat. It's in your bonding. It's in all of the things you do to bring your culture to life. So there has to be an ongoing program that continues to inform people on a day-to-day basis of what is important to your organization. And trust me, if you have employees whose values align with your values, you have people who stay longer with you.
Yeah. Very true.
You have a question, Jennifer? No, okay. The interesting thing about this conversation is I keep wondering why owner-led businesses fail. And hearing you speak, I just know why a lot of things are actually going wrong. Because it's almost like sometimes, again, if the man at the top comes in and this is his style, it just naturally will just permeate into the company. So how do we stop that? That there's a system, regardless of who is, for instance, CEO, because of the structure is already on ground, that no matter who comes in, you just fit in. Because it's the same problem we're facing in Nigeria, right? Yes, because we're the principal, right? For instance, the executives, the governors, the presidents, if they come, the country takes the shape of the shape, like their personality of the leader, right? So how do we stop those kind of things from happening? What kind of how do we change that culture and probably put in a structure that regardless of who comes in? I mean, in Dubai, for instance, the prime minister, you come, you go. There's a long-term plan. You just come and plug and play and follow the plan. So I know that vision plays a strong role in that. But how do we do it? Because it's really, I'm seeing that it's going to be really tough doing it here.
So one of the things that you want to also consider is who makes decisions. So for instance, who do your staff interact with on a day-to-day basis? If they interact with a manager, that person is key, right? So that person becomes sort of like your cabinet member, right? And then there has to be some level of agreement on how we intend to drive success. Because if I communicate with you and it's not a shared communication, the way you communicate it to her, you know, might be different from our corporate discussion that we've had at that level. And then what tends to happen is that she behaves the way she wants to behave, and when another staff comes, she transfers that, and before you know, we start having porous behaviors everywhere. So there has to be an agreement, and not only do you need to have an agreement by mouth, it has to be documented in the program. So that's why we have proper onboarding programs. You know, proper onboarding program that takes you through a journey. I dare say your onboarding program should at least be 365 days. Yes, crucify me. But it doesn't necessarily have to be every day, but it can be quarterly. There has to be an intervention every quarter to still immerse people into that organization. Because if you do not have an immersion plan, people just become haywire. I mean, we travel every day to work. In traffic, we hear a lot of things. Sometimes if you're not plugging our ears, we're insulting the whole world. So imagine bringing, I remember one organization I worked in, you know, they would say to you, once you get to the door, remove your happy self and wear your sad self. I'm telling you, that used to be a conversation at the front desk every single day. So you can imagine the kind of, when our clients walk in and maybe they hear that kind of thing, you know, they're like, I don't want to work with this business. So there has to be a quorum.
The organization requires you to be sad.
Yes, to be sad. There has to be a quorum, you know, at that level as to how. And then this doesn't need to stop at communication level, but it then needs to be encoded in videos, in documents, in, you know, programs and whatnot. That needs to be also checked. So if you're not also managing that performance, if you're not also tracking it, and you don't set KPIs around it, you know, it will just go down the drain. But what are you also rewarding? When you start to see that this behavior is being reinforced, you have to also reward. And then the CEO cannot keep quiet. Send in communication to your staff. Tell stories about how you've won some businesses. You know, send us newsletters. You know, this January that people resumed, how many employers actually sent a letter to their staff to say, okay, what was the most amazing part of your holiday? Not about work, but really about you. Because when you invest in me, I definitely want to invest in you as well. It's just the law of give and take. You know, so once you're able to have that communication, you then need to encode it in videos, in onboarding programs, and ensure that it is being done from time to time. Now, I would say something. When I interview people or talk to fellow managers, they tell me that, you know what, I beg, onboarding is so stressful, you know, and I just get tired halfway through it. Please, you know, please, the custodian and allied insurance, the custodian of your the custodian of your onboarding document, please, as much as possible, let that person's responsibility be to immerse people in that organization, so that we don't have, and I know that for people who are bootstrapping, it might be a long call. Have videos in your company and ensure that you can track simple LMS systems nowadays, that some of them are free, some of them are free. You can literally just, you know, track, have you watched this, have you done this?
If I put them in the reception, deliberately leave there for 30 minutes and put the USB there and let that screen be showing
I had a client in Abuja. She's a tailor, and she has instead of African Magic, once a new staff comes, they are playing videos of how they sew, how they do things. You are watching it. Yes, you must watch it. You know? Learn. So that's how you immerse people, and I think the key word there is immersion.
Okay.
So let me take a comment quickly. Sorry, let me just take a comment because it's also good. She said, CEO should give feedback. Please feedback. Honestly, Ways is a unique program where you bring brains on your show. Keep the good work, and guys. Keep the good work, and guys are beautiful. We are ladies, so this is from Rafael Akori from Zara. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead, Isi.
Okay, my question goes thus. You know, you talked about interviewing individuals or recruiting individuals. So what do you actually look out for as a recruiter? Competency over integrity, or integrity over competency?
Okay, so for me, integrity is, again, like I said, a very subjective word. So I naturally do not stay at the basis of integrity. I rather stay at the basis of what is important to us as an organization. So I create scenario type questions and see how you react to it. And sometimes I don't even go the extent of asking technical questions. I go ahead and ask questions about your family, your upbringing, the things that have affected you the most, and
some of them aligns with your values.
Yes, and people become very defensive sometimes. You know, very recently a friend of mine had an interview. She called to say, "Oh, please help," blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, "Just go and be yourself." Talk about stories that actually align to what the company does. For instance, you've taken care of your children. So talk about it. Just don't go there and be a superwoman. Because most people come and they just want to, be like you are the best in the block. But there's nothing underneath. So when you start to ask them questions, the things when you travel, what do you look out for? Are you shopping all the time? Are you doing this? If you get into an elevator, are you the one who talks to everybody? Because I do. Or are you the one who just is by yourself, by a wall somewhere? When you get into a training, are you the one who raise your hand to talk about something, or are you just going to be like, let me listen? So you're beginning to know their nuances, and they don't expect such questions. So they answer genuinely at first before they think about it. So you get to know the personality type of that person and see if that, and sometimes you can also go ahead and do some personality tests as well.
So it's mostly on
and then I would also ask scenario-based questions. So if I'm hiring because there's a problem in the organization, I would ask questions around how you would approach such. So just to hear, you don't need to know everything, but how you would even approach it. If you would call a friend, I really don't mind, because that means you have resources. When we are in trouble, you will not get stuck on Google.
So it means you can think outside of the box.
Exactly. You won't get stuck just searching on the search engine. If you think on the search engine you're looking for all the answers, then you can call somebody and be like, oh my God, I need to get this immediately, help me. So that helps me know that, okay, this person
you're a problem solver, you can think on your feet.
That's it. So those kind of
Absolutely.
I think one of the issues that a lot of startup companies are having these days is the fact that they are placing benefits over culture, where they tell you, oh, I'm going to give you a laptop, I'm going to give you health insurance. I mean, all those things are nice, but if you are going to be paying me, say, 600,000 naira monthly, and my mental health is ground zero, then there is a problem, because I won't be able to deliver. And then you have a manager or a supervisor who talks to his team members anyhow. You're talking to them like they're your kids, or you're talking to them like they don't matter. Now these things affect the quality of work, and people are going to leave. People are definitely going to leave.
But because this is a big
Jennifer,
problem.
let me shock you. I was recruiting some company, and most of the people that came were from tech-based companies, and they called it millennial. And this girl came, and I'm like, why would you leave this company that is paying you all of this amount and want to come and work for, a straight jacket company? She said, I come to work every day and they are playing music. Like, everybody plays music, and it bothers my mental health, it bothers me. And because we're supposed to be a free company and we can do anything, so I sat down and asked myself, so it means that these benefits don't actually mean anything to the people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
God.
No. Thank you so much, Nanke. We've run out of time.
Too many things to talk about.
Too many things to talk about. We need to bring you back, because it's actually a big deal. People do not know. That's why a lot of companies are failing and folding up by the minute. Thank you, Issy. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. All right, so before we go, Penny Tree, in partnership with Waze, will be reserving 20 slots for people who sign up on their Pen Exclusive Associate Program. All you have to do is mention that you watch on Waze, and you stand a chance to earn over 200,000 naira. So do ensure you follow them on Instagram, and also you can follow us as well at Waze Show. Interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, engage on all our social media platforms, so we can have a connection. We love that. All right, so in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. The secret of successful hiring is this: look for the people who want to change the world. They should also have a vision. They should have a desire on their inside. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust,
and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on PlusTvAfrica.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Yes, it's another edition of TW Conversations. We're not in the lounge today, we're at the restaurant, as you can see. But why am I in the restaurant? Simply because